Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Lee. I'm the library administrator for the Library of Accessible Media for Pennsylvanians in Pittsburgh, PA.
I am Mary Beth Parks. I'm the Patron Services Manager.
Hi, I'm Laura Hughes. I'm the Youth Services Librarian.
Jeff Wright. I am the Manager of Technology and Materials Fulfillment.
And you are listening to White Canes Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I am your first vice president. Joining me today is co-host and White Canes Connect creator, Lisa Bryant. Lisa, what's on tap today?
What we have on tap today is a very extensive conversation with some folks from LAMP, the Library for Accessible Media for Pennsylvanians. We had Mark on, the head of LAMP, some time ago, and people can look for that episode, as well as another colleague, Angela, who was mentioned throughout the show. But I don't know about you, David. I think LAMP has been doing a phenomenal job over the past few years. They're much more visible in different communities, and I think they're doing a great job in getting their services, making their services more known. What do you think?
I really do believe that. And to the point where they always have these things. And as you'll hear in the interview, they have something every year in November that I always want to go to, but it's on the other side of the state. It's an 8 or so hour train ride. And I don't remember getting anything from the Philadelphia area library. And again, I think that's goes to the team that they have there out in Pittsburgh. And I think you'll hear during this interview how they all have their jobs and they are all great at them to get folks what they want or what they need, whether it's assistive technology help or the youth programming that they have going on. Just everything about it is awesome.
And evidently their work is not going unnoticed. They will talk about a very prestigious award that they just received.
Let's take a listen. Mark, Mary Beth, Laura, and Jeff, thanks so much for being with us today.
We're really glad to be here. Thanks. Thanks, David. Thanks, Lisa.
Hi, LAMP team. Welcome back to you, Mark, and very hearty welcome to the others. It's really nice to have you on talking about a lot going on at LAMP. Congratulations on how the program really seems to be growing. But it sounds like congratulations are first in order. Congratulations on the recent award. Mark, why don't you tell us about that? Give us a context of that award. Like who were you up against and what does the award mean?
Thank you. Thank you. We weren't going to mention anymore, but since you have, Lisa, I'll tell you about it. We won we won the Library of Congress National Library Service Network Library of the Year Award. And who we're up against is other network libraries all across the United States. It's the third time this library has won that award. And we were just so proud to win it and so excited to win it because there's so many great network libraries in this system and you don't always win. It's hard to win it and they're doing so much great work. But mostly for me, it just validates all the work these folks do on this meeting and the staff here at LAMP in Pittsburgh. And their creative, innovative approach to accessibility, always trying new things, not afraid to make mistakes, making books accessible, doing children's programming, and like every single day trying to make the best experience for patrons that it can be.
And it really is a team effort, as we will hear from each of you. So before we swing it to either Laura, Mary Beth, or Jeff, Mark, would you give us just a brief history of LAMP? And there are, believe it or not, there are some who may not even know what that acronym even stands for. So maybe you could swing that in there, slip that in there as well. So just a very brief history and maybe a bird's eye view of the services before we talk more specifics.
Okay, a very brief history. We are part of the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, one of 19 libraries chosen by the Library of Congress in 1933 to serve people who are blind with accessible materials, particularly books and then later talking books. And we have another library in Philadelphia, the LAMP Library in Philadelphia. LAMP stands for Library of Accessible Media for Pennsylvanians. We formerly were a library for the blind and physically handicapped, which was a name that was absolutely unmarketable and pejorative to many. So we had to move on from that. We serve people who have reading disabilities like dyslexia, who are visually disabled, are blind, or cannot hold the book or turn its pages. And we really just focus on serving people with print disabilities and leveling the playing field with material and technology. We try to inform our public in person and over the phone about all the innovations that can also help level the playing field for them. How was that, Lisa?
That was wonderful. Again,
Beth.
this is not a new thing for you. You're a pro at this.
You know what? One more thing I have to say, we're also funded through the Pennsylvania Department of Education and through the Office of Commonwealth Libraries. So we're completely funded by Pennsylvania taxpayers.
And so when we say LAMP, you guys are all from the Pittsburgh area, but LAMP really has the two places, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Is that right?
Yes, there's another regional library, Philadelphia. It was also one of the original libraries chosen by the Library of Congress to disseminate books because they were already serving people who were blind. And yep. So there's a library, and it's administered through the Free Library of Philadelphia. We're administered through the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh.
So there could be differences between the Philadelphia and...
Yes, Philadelphia does. We do different things. Philadelphia primarily does Braille and outreach, and they recently have their recording studio up. They're doing a lot of great innovative things there in Philadelphia too.
You have a lot of services. You're meeting the needs of not only different communities in terms of blindness and reading disabilities, but even though you have these different communities, there are different needs within the communities, and some of them, I guess, kind of a crossover. A person who does the reading advisors, Mary Beth, let's start with you. What is a reading advisor?
So I directly supervise the reader advisors here at LAMP, and the reader advisors do many things. The main thing that they do is they answer phone calls from our patrons. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and they'll answer questions about the service. They'll answer questions about reading. They'll make suggestions for great reading that the patrons will enjoy. They'll also troubleshoot if someone is having some equipment problems or trouble downloading books on the Bard mobile app. So they answer a variety of questions from our patrons. They also will enter applications into our circulation system. So any applications that we receive, the reader advisor will enter that information into the circulation system and then give that patron a call just to make sure that they know what to expect from the service, to answer any questions that they have about the service. They also will provide programming for our patrons. We have a monthly hybrid book discussion, and they also maintain our large print collection. So we have a collection of large print materials. We also have audio described DVDs. So they maintain that collection. And they also create content for our newsletter, for our website. They select staff picks for the website, and we have a supplemental piece that goes out with our large print books with suggested reading. So they do a lot of different things to provide the best experience for our patrons.
And I may have missed you saying this. These are all volunteers, correct?
No.
These are staff. Okay.
Yes, this is staff.
And I'm also curious to the extent that they might offer assistance. Let's say there's someone that needs help with research. Would that advisor be sort of a point of contact, just as, when you go into a local library and you say, I need a book on, I don't know, diet, nutrition, and especially for someone with type 2 diabetes, like when you're very specific like that, can the advisor sort of guide someone through materials? Of course, they would have to be print accessible materials for a project like that.
They can help guide patrons through the materials by they can do a little bit of research to see what is in the catalog, what is
Right.
available for our patrons.
Right.
And if it goes beyond, something that is available, then, they will refer the patron. They can refer the patron to other sources that may help them get the information that they need. We work very closely with different organizations. So we are aware of like the resources offered by those organizations. So we oftentimes will refer patrons, to those other organizations if that's more helpful.
So I wonder what the training is like for an advisor, because you're working with such a varied community of disabilities. What does that training sort of look like?
Yeah, we have a very robust onboarding training for new reader advisors. And then, of course, we're always, training is ongoing because, technology changes and, we're trying to stay abreast of, all of the latest updates and resources. And so we do have training, and then we do have all of the new reader advisors are mentored by, other reader advisors. So they are assigned a mentor. Everyone at LAMP is involved in the onboarding process because we all do different things, but all of our jobs are, intertwined. And there is some disability etiquette training as well.
That sounds like it sounds like it also could be a very rewarding position because you're working so closely with someone. I mean, they're really reliant on navigating through all of the programs and services available. So
yeah,
great.
it's very rewarding. We hear from our patrons all of the time how, thankful they are, for the service, and all of our reader advisors are, very kind, and they love to talk with our patrons. They're very friendly, and we just have a really great group of people working here. So to those out there, don't be afraid to give us a call. We're always happy to help.
We definitely want to reemphasize that before we go, just how people can support the work that you guys are doing. So speaking of helping the patrons, I want to switch over to Laura. Laura, I believe you are in charge of the youth service program. Tell us about your role and your team.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. And thank you again for inviting us to talk with you today. Yeah, my name is Laura. I am the youth services librarian here. I do come from I've had a lot of experience in branches, public facing. And so this is definitely a little different as we serve children from birth to age 21 years of age in youth services, along with their families. And then also we really work very hard to support the schools, teachers, intermediate units that really are those points of contact for our LAMP youth. A lot of it is, promoting our services. So many people who are really at the front lines, who are working with children, are finding out about LAMP services from, events that we're tabling, or we're giving presentations at events. So a lot of my job is really spreading the news that this is something, that this can be a tool for teachers, but then also talking with families and helping them find books that really work for their children, audiobooks. And then also we have the fun challenge of finding large print for youth, because it is far and few between of what actually gets chosen to be published for mass market large print. So it's a lot of interesting approaches. I also do programming. I have an in-person story time that is really fun every other week here at Pittsburgh Lamp. We
And
have
that's year round?
It is year round. We have some accessible supports. And in addition to the in-person story time, one thing that I have been starting this year is I have been creating a virtual accessible story time with descriptions of illustrations, with directional descriptions. And this is kind of a work in progress because I haven't found a lot of resources to it is definitely, I feel like I learn something new every time. So that is available on YouTube. So we're really aiming for about 4 a year. And the last one got over 700 views, which was pretty
Wow.
exciting.
And just how much support, like what's your team look like? Your team makeup? Are you a one-woman show?
Yes.
Okay.
We have 500 youth that are Lamp patrons. So really trying to contact them and remember that like it's really important that we want kids to be signed up for Lamp while they're in school because this is a service that they can have for the, outside of school when they are an adult. So we're always really trying to push that, maybe you don't think you want it right now, but you know what, down the road, it's really great that you have that Lamp account.
How many people are coming to the story time?
We generally have a pretty small story time, only about 4 families. But as we know, those families spread the word. And so all of these opportunities we have to connect with community members, really goes further than our walls. I'm really excited about the potential for the virtual story time, of course, because of our unique geography that we can cover because there's only so much we can really do. We also partner very closely with the Western Pennsylvania School for the Blind that is only about 3 blocks away from us. I am relatively new in this position, so I am really looking forward to doing outreach on campus next year, but we are always having groups from the school come, really looking to support in whichever way we can.
Lisa, can I just say that Laura does such exceptional work, and her job is so different than a public library youth services person because she's also like training other librarians in services through district library centers, curating a collection of tactile and braille circulating kits and reaching out to organizations like the International Dyslexia Organization and working through intermediate units. She is a ton on her plate, and we're really so glad she works here.
You had mentioned the School for the Blind. Do you do anything with Patton?
Patton is an excellent resource. At this moment, we are still growing our relationship with them. It's definitely one that I feel like is a work in progress, though, David.
Patton has also come here a few times. So we do interact with Patton.
What is your general coverage area? Is it just the city of Pittsburgh? How far out do you go?
We serve all 67 counties in Pennsylvania.
We love opportunities to travel as far as we can, and then we split a lot of that geography with Philadelphia. But it is a wide area.
Right. I know. I can't imagine, hey, I need a book. Somebody up in Erie needs something, or somebody up in, I don't know, Johnstown or Lock Haven, right in the middle. Yeah, you guys probably fight over who has to go to that one.
Because people became very comfortable in the virtual space over the last 5 years, that has really been a benefit because especially with youth programming, we are offering, most of our programs have virtual components because I really do want to create a space for kids from all over the state to connect. We have a hybrid kids craft, for instance, and we have a hybrid teen book club. So there are ways we are really trying to work through our geographic trials as well.
Last but certainly not least, Jeff, why don't you tell us about your role over at LAMP? I understand you're the tech guy, tech and Materials, equipment?
Materials fulfillment, that's correct. So primarily, I oversee the materials fulfillment department. We're responsible for circulating approximately 1 million items a year to 15,000 plus users across the state. Primarily, that is through the U.S. Postal Service, free of charge. Some of it is, user and user interface with the BARD website that's supplied and provided by the National Library Service. But a good bit of it does come from the U.S. Postal Service. There's the audio cartridges we deliver here and the large print materials as well as descriptive videos. But mostly my group, we provide the tech assistance to everybody on staff. And that could be, anything from like hardware, software. It could be just, phone issues. We also assist patrons with tech problems. So we have a once a month session we call the walk-in open tech session. It's on the fourth Tuesday of every month. Patrons come in for about an hour. I don't want to say it's a peer-led group, but it is sort of, because they sort of take control of that group after we even set a subject matter for that or to have a related subject. But we sit down and we talk about accessible apps, and we talk about things that are like common everyday, issues with their tech devices. And that could be just something as simple as camera orientation. We talk a lot about the AI accessible applications that are available to them. We also do individual tech services. So if a patron is having some problems with one of their devices, or, they bought a new phone or something like that, they can call, make an appointment with somebody on my team, and we'll go down and we'll meet them for an hour. I'll work them through their problems. We don't always have the answers, but we do our best to get them through their problem. And we also have a group of people we call the technology assistance group, or accessibility group, I'm sorry. And what we do is we kind of go around from branch to branch within the Carnegie Library system. We sort of teach assistive technology, and that could be like some of the software that's available to them from our network providers, some things like JAWS screen readers, Fusion applications. We talk about various things like how to navigate your device if you had to have it on voiceover, some of the accessibility features on your devices. We teach that to the staff so that all staff in Carnegie Library system is prepared to handle people who might have a visual disability or print disability. We also, we just started recently doing onboarding sessions for new staff to come on board with Carnegie Library. And the people on my team, they're primarily called service integration leads. And that's sort of what they do. They integrate the service here. And that's simply, they kind of know every little aspect of what goes on here. And they, that's our job, to sort of resolve problems that pop up.
You mentioned onboarding, and I was thinking wow, what's that training situation look like? Because that's a lot, because there's so many different ways that people access them. Even David and I, we navigate our phones very differently. So, you would have to know when to use train someone in voiceover, or train someone to use the shortcut accessibility features. Like there's just so many. So these people are at some point, I guess, pretty well versed in a variety of ways to use accessibility features?
Yeah, it seems like the younger generation seems to know where to find everything on their phones these days. And it is really kind of a short session on like reviewing some things, and they kind of know their way around their devices and just getting to the settings. And they're very similar for an Android or an Apple device and where to find these accessibility features.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
and so and once you start like something like a voiceover or an Android called TalkBack, yeah, a lot of the hand gestures you use to navigate your device are very similar. But now, Fusion is Fusion, JAWS is JAWS. Voiceover. All screen readers have sort of the same basic short key functions to them. Some applications do have a little different. You start talking about Outlook, and you start talking about reading panes and things like that. They could vary a little bit, but we try to stay with what is provided by our network provider. And they supply, JAWS and Fusion to us on staff as well as on our public stations. So it's really about teaching people where to find these tools and how to get somebody there And once usually, our users or people with visual disabilities, they've already gone through some sort of process to already have learned or been taught how to use like screened readers or Fusion, things like that. So often it's just about like, how do I get there? Where is this located?
Yeah.
So that we do a lot of that.
You'd mentioned stations within public stations that people can use. Are they all Windows based in the library?
Yes.
And how many do you have there?
Well, in our library, we have 5. Now, we do have like a catalog station and things like that, also a CCTV. But yeah, we have 5 public stations.
Well, the volunteer stations are public too. So in the volunteer room, that's probably another.
That's true.
But still no Max is what I'm hearing.
No Max. No.
Okay.
Can I just say like that Jeff is like, he does a lot of stuff. And one thing about the open tech, first of all, David and Lisa, you're totally invited to come here. And it's a lot more exciting than Jeff is letting on because he does a lot of other stuff too. Because, during that, we're talking about, we both, Jeff and I, and everybody here recognizes that there has never been a more exciting time technologically for folks. And we go over many different AI apps like Envision. We have whole sessions with Meta glasses. And some of us have been here for a while and seen the evolution of that technology where it's been Google Glass and then it went away, or Ira had glasses and then they went away.
Yeah.
But we do Envision, Oko. I don't know if you know all these things, but I mean, what Jeff does is help people get their photo on their phone so the Uber driver recognizes them. And then following that, if you make the trip in, we have a Tactile Tuesday program, which is run primarily by Steve McMillan, but other service integration leads like Brendan Ford and Kate Osterritter and Michael Pasilio, they contribute things that they create tactile objects using 3D printing and swell form to translate visual concepts. And we have a group of patrons who come in and it's really a good time. And there's snacks.
We can't forget
now we're
accessible movie.
sold.
Yeah, now, David. I think I hooked David right there.
We can't forget accessible movie afternoon as well. We do have an accessible movie afternoon that we use some of those tactile elements for us, as we show like a descriptive video to our patrons and, we provide snacks for them. But we also have a tactile element to that. We have our own print room that contains like 3D printers and tactile printers and swell form printers.
They're not just giving that award to anybody. That's all I'm saying. This team of people is killing it. They literally are
that's
knocked out of
what
the
it sounds like.
You run something in the fall, and I forget exactly what it's called. And I think you've run it 2 years in a row, maybe more than that. It was some sort of exhibit that runs, I think, mid-October to mid-November. Maybe it's early October. Talk about that for a little bit, because that has always interested me. And I always hoped that there would be some reason to be in Pittsburgh at that time so I could get over there and have a look at that.
We're going to give you the opening night date right now. Mary Beth, I think, but it's Somata Sensory. It's the program you're talking about. Mary Beth, tell David about it and also about the snacks available on opening night.
Yeah, there are a lot of snacks. Yeah, so we partner with the Society of Sculptors, and we have a art exhibit, a tactile art exhibit every November. And we work with the Society of Sculptors to get artists to submit their artwork to the library. And then we have a jury made up of our patrons, a group of our patrons, and then they will jury the pieces. So they will experience the piece
In a tactile
tactily.
way.
Yes, in a tactile way. And the artist will also submit a description of the artwork. So we will, during the jury process, we will read the description of the artwork while the members of the jury experience the artwork. So the artwork that is selected is part of an exhibit. The artists will come into the library, come into our recording studio, and record the description of their artwork. So during the exhibit, we have a opening reception where we invite members of the community, the artists, patrons, we have a big celebration to open the event. And then the artwork is displayed. We have our digital players that will play the recording that the artists supply for the artwork. And then, you know, everyone who attends the event can explore the artwork using a variety of senses. So it's just a great experience. We leave the exhibit open throughout the month of November. And so people come in. We have a lot of groups that come in during that time, and they just get to experience this, wonderful artwork.
Mhm.
So it's just a great event. It really builds community. The artists really enjoy people experiencing their artwork in, this way. And we do have during the opening reception this year, it will be November 7th, a Friday from 4:30 to 6:30. Everyone is invited to come. We have a lot of refreshments, sandwiches, and cheese trays, and a lot of goodies, drinks. It's just a really fun event. So everyone is welcome to come.
You'll have to shoot us a blast or however you're promoting that as it is closer, because we can mention it like on one of our other episodes, even beyond this one.
I'm doing the figuring in my head. Okay, if I take the train on Thursday, I'd get out there late at night. I could stay all day Friday, go to that, and then come home Saturday. So I think I could do it.
And then get right back on to Harrisburg, because that's just
Yeah, the
before,
next week. Yeah,
our state convention.
3 days later.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
Yeah.
Mark, I keep hearing about different partners or other organizations that you collaborate with. Why don't you tell us a little more about some of the collaborations with either blindness organizations or agencies serving the blind, and just to what extent what is the extent of those partnerships? Like, how do they help LAMP advance your mission?
They're instrumental in helping us advance our mission, and we're not necessarily. So we always present, and our communications manager sets that up. And she presented last year at the NFB conference in Erie. I heard you mention it before, and I presented to those guys too. But like in the ACB, the American Council of the Blind, they are. A lot of these folks are patrons, both NFB and ACB. And we have an advocacy advisory group that we meet with every month. And all those members are either they're the president. We have a couple of the presidents on that group. And so they get the word out. They
Yeah.
spread the word. They come to our programs. They celebrate our successes. They give us advice. And, I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I get a lot of things wrong, and they help me to understand that. They say and that's over the years, so it's a lot.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's really helpful to have that, and they're truthfully the thing about about those organizations and LAMP is that they are and it's sincerely they're just our friends, truthfully.
Mhm.
We see them on a daily basis. They volunteer here. They help to edit, monitor, and record books that we
Mhm.
produce to BARD, which then are available in perpetuity through the Library of Congress to libraries, to people with print disabilities all over the world, thanks to the Marrakesh Treaty, which allows for the free exchange of copywritten material to people with print disabilities. Everything in this did you ever notice everything in this particular library field has a lot of words? You can't just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sorry about that. I know
That's okay. That's all
I'm
right.
trying to squeeze it all in and breathe. But yeah, but it's just so we wouldn't be where we are without them, and they had a hand in the Network Library of the Year award.
That sort of connection, because the frustrating thing for people who need services from LAMP or any other agency, the frustration is the organizations don't talk to one another.
Oh.
So, we kind of feel like we're kind of stuck in the middle, clowns to the left, jokers in the right. But anyway,
know.
it's nice to see that's becoming less and less of a thing. I at least I think it seems to be. Like, we still got to get the medical profession more in the loop. But in terms of agencies and organizations, it seems to be a lot more collaborating, I would say, in the last few years. Would you agree to that, Mark?
Well, I think you're leading me into something here, Lisa. But I would say yes.
What would
those
that be,
organizations.
Mark?
Yeah, what would that be? But writ large, yes, organizations are collaborating more. Some of the ones you talked about, yes, more. Some of the philosophies are like bending a little, and it's just. But we work with so many organizations, and we really try to cultivate and maintain those relationships,
Mhm.
and we have such good people doing it. Like I mentioned, Zandy Dudak, our communication manager, she just keeps everybody in the loop on so many things and creates a newsletter, does an internal fortnight report that we started as an internal thing about everything we do each month. And now it goes out to legislators and partners in the state. And it really helps to communicate all that we do. And we really rely on those partners.
I feel like there was another category we were to touch on in regard to the DA2
Yeah, Jeff.
program.
He
Okay.
didn't mention that, did he? The materials fulfillment guy, luckily, is on this call.
Jeff, would you care to speak to that?
Sure. Unfortunately, the machine learning agent is not on the call.
Right.
So I'm going to hold up the device. I know people can't see it, but it is a black plastic container, sort of. It's a case of black plastic, and it's about 8 inches by inches, about 2 inches thick. Has approximately 18 different buttons on it, being things like tone, volume, speed. Your up and down, left, right, shelf, mark mode, power, play forward. Your typical player options, but this one does have a few more options that the older machines didn't have, which is a direct button for accessing the bookshelf feature and a direct button for placing bookmarks. So there's no sort of, learning a series of buttons or pushes or presses to do that anymore. I know the old one didn't have a speed, function or, the tone, at least not with direct button access. But primarily, the best thing about this device is that it has Wi-Fi capabilities as well as Bluetooth. You can connect the device to your own headphones or your hearing aid. You can connect this device to your Wi-Fi at home. And this particular machine, it allows a patron to sort of circumvent the whole materials fulfillment through mail. If the patron has access to BARD, the Braille and Audio Reading Download website through NLS, they can populate their wish list on BARD and have the books directly sent and downloaded to their device, allowing them to get access almost immediately.
So that's neat. So the same books that I could listen to through BARD, someone else could have in their hands through and listen through the little recorder or the player.
Right.
That's cool.
And how many books do you, one or two at a time, or does it have a pretty decent memory to put a couple on there?
I believe it's a few. I'm not exactly sure. I guess it depends on the size of the book. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a few.
And the buttons are tactile?
They
Very
are.
tactile?
So,
Okay.
yeah, some of them are. Like the volume has arrows pointing up or down, of course,
Okay.
and same with the directional buttons. But the bookshelf feature has 3 horizontal lines. The bookmark one does. But the buttons can be different shapes, like square,
Okay.
triangle, diamond.
Even if they don't have anything on them, at least you can feel that there's a button there, unlike a touch screen or some of those newer
Right.
units where it's just flush and you just kind of have to put your finger on an area and it works.
Correct. And there's Braille next to them as well for a Braille reader.
I've been told I need a tone button. Let's go back to BARD for a second. And I know that there are some changes coming, and I've seen a couple of emails over the last few weeks. Tell us
I
about
got something just this week.
Yeah, right. Tell us, and I'm not sure which of you who's the BARD person. Tell us about the changes coming to BARD, and then I have a follow-up that affects me as well as I'm sure others.
The main changes that are going to take place with BARD, and it's called BARD 2, is through the website version of BARD. So if you access BARD through the website, through BARD 2, there will be different ways of searching the wish list. You can search the reading history. You could manage subscriptions, like magazine subscriptions. There will be you can do some different advanced searches. So the main thing is the upgraded search features. A lot of people were asking to be able to search their reading history because we have some very avid readers, so they can look at that, and then also their wish list. I think that's the biggest things. Although if people access Bard through a mobile device, it will not reflect in that mobile device. This is only searching or using Bard through the website.
Now, you had mentioned avid users. I am not one, and I know there's probably one or two people on this call who have reinstated my Bard account maybe more than once.
Yeah.
You too, Lisa?
Yeah.
Is it still the same? I want to say it was roughly 6 months and then it goes away. Is it still that 6 months?
Yeah, it doesn't go away. It just becomes inactive if it's not being used.
Right.
And we can, easily reactivate the account.
Does an email work to do that, or do you have to call? Okay.
Yeah, you could either call or email. Our reader advisors can reactivate the account. I think if you are in Bard on the website, I think my email address is on the website. So, you can do that as well. But the one thing that I would like to say is the day that the account is reactivated, you have to log into the account that day, because if you don't, it's going to look like, you haven't used the account for a period of time. So the day that the account is reactivated, you should log into the account.
Okay, and when you say log in, can you do it from your mobile, or do you have to go through the website to re-log in?
So you can log in through the mobile app, but if you change your password, I believe you have to do that through the website. But yeah, if you log in, you can log in through the website or the mobile app to remain active.
And one more question about Bard. I know that primarily through Bard, the books are audiobooks, whether they're read by folks in the recording studio there or somewhere else. But there are some that are text to speech. Is that right?
There may be, but
I may be thinking of Bookshare.
I mean, Bookshare, there are more books that are text to speech.
Okay.
I think maybe in very isolated cases, like if there's something that, cannot be, narrated, or if something is in high demand where there's not a narration available, maybe, but I think that's probably few and far between.
I'm glad David spent some time on Bard because, he pretty much asked all the questions that I was going to ask, which happens often. But one thing I want to commend you on, personally, I have seen Bard sort of evolve much more for the better over the years. It was a little clunky before, and I think at least my personal choice was I really like the author's voice. I'd like to, listen. And you have a lot more of those now in the Bard library, correct? Like the author is actually.
Yes. Yeah, that's enjoyable. I do want to say too, with this Bard too, when they roll it out, the NLS is asking for feedback on how people are receiving these new features. So if anyone has any feedback that they would like to share with the National Library Service, they can call us and let us know, and we will, share that feedback with the National Library Service, because they are always looking to, improve the different technologies that are used by our patrons.
So David mentioned the event in the fall. Mark, anything else on the radar that people might want to know about? Any events?
One event I do want to touch on is we did have a sad occasion. If you can hear at LAMP, and I want to just make a note, we did lose a very large member, a big part of our team, Mark Sayshon, which is our recording and volunteer
Yeah,
studio manager.
I
And
believe he's in the video that's on the website.
he is in the video, and he and many people in the community, the National Library Service community that we serve in Pennsylvania know Mark and volunteered with him, and he built a very robust community of volunteers, and in his work, and those folks have recorded many books and made them accessible on BARD and available through the Library of Congress. And he's just someone who valued people and valued their contributions. And I just wanted to know, we're really going to miss him around here. And it was really kind of unexpected. And I just want to acknowledge that in the podcast, if it's okay, Lisa.
No, of course.
We are constantly doing outreach, to your point, and we're going to be at I don't have the list right now. Sandy, I wish was on now. Sandy won't get on. She has the whole list, but we're going to be at a conference in Boston, and Mary Beth's going to be part of a panel there on improving the patron experience. Laura's going to be presenting at the Pennsylvania Library Association conference in Erie again. Erie's getting a lot of shout outs. Yeah, so Erie, PA, that'll be in October. But we have many outreaches in between. And actually, the biggest thing we're going to do, and where you could see me next, is I'm so fortunate to be able to receive on behalf of this library the Network Library of the Year Award. And we'll be at the Library of Congress, and it is quite a to-do. We have this whole run of show. They have the Capitol Police doing a ceremony before. They have a Library of Congress band plays, and the director of the NLS, the deputy of the Library of Congress, formerly Dr. Hayden, had presented at those conferences, but now there is the deputy director of the Library of Congress, or the acting director, will be there. And I'm very glad to say Mary Beth will be going along. So will our president and director of Carnegie Library Pittsburgh, Andrew Medlar, our IDEA director, Deborah Rogers, the state librarian Sue Banks from Pennsylvania will come along, and it's going to be quite. And a couple of our readers advisors, Katie Jackson and Angela Woodard, who we really wouldn't have won the award without their contributions and all. And just so I hope I didn't go on too long there, but that is. We get a rubber chicken lunch down there. It's at the Library of Congress. I mean, the
Library of Congress has a band. Isn't it worth going to hear that?
Yeah, I know. I'm probably misspeaking here but there's a ceremonial unit. It's quite a to-do.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's at the mothership, we like to say.
Yeah. So you've arrived.
You've arrived.
Well, I hope that you guys will be able to send one or two of you to Harrisburg between the 13th and 16th of November during our state convention. And I know either myself or Lynn will reach out for that, but we would love to have you
it's in person this year?
Yeah, it's in person.
Oh, you guys haven't had the in-person one in a while. Is that
No, we had. Well, last year we were in Erie.
Erie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Erie. Okay. All right, we'll be there.
Okay.
Sandy,
all right. It's on record, literally.
It's a lot.
It's on record.
Lynn will put it on record anyway. She'll call for sure. But we're flattered and appreciate the invitation. And if you two ever come to town, it's red carpet. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
David, Lisa.
I don't need red carpet. Just have the snacks ready.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And some snacks. I'm there.
You guys are always welcome.
You guys, all of you, and those others behind the scenes have done a phenomenal job. Congratulations on just really what seems like a very genuine commitment to serving people with all sorts of disabilities and making sure we're not left out in the cold in terms of media or any kind of materials that the rest of the world has access to. And it's just great that you have such a team that's so dedicated and so cohesive. So great job, everybody. But
I just wanted to ask about the recording studio, and and maybe it's just being geeky with the equipment that I have here, and wondering about the equipment that you guys use and how that all works. It's just primarily to read the books. It's not somebody says, hey, I want to do a podcast. I'm going to go over to LAMP and record it. It's not something like that, right?
it hasn't traditionally been that. We do have 2 brand new Echo recording booths that we got last year, and Mark helped steward those in. But it hasn't been, but that's not to say it couldn't be, David, if you're dropping a hint there.
Yeah, exactly.
We can
Kind of
make
what it
your
sounded like.
I know, did at least he's really not very subtle. And then it's like, but you can have a red carpet right to the recording studio
Okay.
door.
Okay, with the cheese cubes right next to the mic.
Yeah.
I always like to ask, how can we in the community support LAMP? What is the need there? Is there a need for volunteers? Just make sure you sign up and create an account. What would you say are some of the ways we can help support you?
Well, Lisa, thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. And what some of the ways you can support us? So we're state funded. So make sure your legislator knows how important LAMP is to your community. Well, we're a little bit on hiatus with accepting new volunteers, but that will be short lived. Probably just for a couple months. And if you want to contact us to talk about volunteering, and for anything at all, you can contact us at info@mylamp.org or call us at 1-800-242-0586. I think just the legislative part of it is so important. It is a very challenged time. In LAMP, it's just hard to see where the ripples are going to wash over. And we have been fortunate. But LAMP is over budget. And we use contributed funds to sustain our services. And so if anybody wanted to help, our contributed funds cover a lot of the services, like our travel, our outreach, our collection development. So we have at mylamp.org, where you can also, the other thing you do is apply for services. If you need services or somebody in your family needs services, there's an application right there. If you, like Laura was talking earlier, if you have a child who has a reading disability, dyslexia, or otherwise is print disabled, sign them up for our services. They are free, and we are a spectacular resource from now until forever. And that's I'm not just saying that. We're not on commission, Lisa. But yeah, so if you wanted to support LAMP, otherwise volunteering, or if you want to support LAMP we have a support LAMP button on our mylamp.org website, and you can support Pittsburgh or you can support Philly through that site, and both libraries would be very happy to receive a donation.
Great. Laura, would you like to provide contact info?
Sure. You can email info@mylamp.org and somebody will forward it to me, or you can email me directly. My email is Hughes, HUGHES, L2, the number 2, at mylamp.org. And yeah, I just wanted to say, definitely one of the best ways you can help to support LAMP is to spread the word, spread the word to somebody who could benefit from these services. Or if you are talking to, we're always looking to make these connections. If you're talking to a provider and you think that it would be great for LAMP to make a presentation, make the connection. We might be able to do it. Those are just great opportunities.
Mary Beth?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Laura stated. Just if you know anyone or if you yourself have difficulty reading standard print, go to our website at mylamp.org, complete the application, and the application can be a little daunting. So if you need any assistance at all, do not hesitate to contact us at info@mylamp.org. You can email me directly. My email address is Parks, PARKSM, as in Mary, at carnegielibrary.org, or you can give us a call. Our reader advisors are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, at 412-687-2440. If we don't answer and our reader advisors are on the phone, please leave a message. We check voicemail throughout the day. We check our email. We will definitely get back to you. So don't hesitate to reach out with any questions that you may have. We're happy to help.
And just before I swing it over to Jeff, I want to attest to that. I have had to email about signing into my account, and I get an answer right away. So you're absolutely right. Jeff, would you like to have some final words and give out your contact info?
My contact information is wrightj@mylamp.org, and that is WRIGHT. J is in Jeff at mylamp.org, or you can email info@mylamp.org too, and that they'll pass it on to me. But I do want to mention that, please contact me if you have any problem with assistive technology or your devices. We can always set up like tech sessions or have you come in, or even over the phone. We'll do what we can do.
Well, again, great job, guys. And thank you for being so, again, very committed. Like, you guys take this work very seriously, and that is to our benefit. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you guys for giving us the opportunity
Thank
to
you.
talk about the services, and we really appreciate the platform. And you both. We really appreciate you, Lisa and David.
Thanks again to Mark, Mary Beth, Laura, and Jeff for coming on and giving us all the great info they provided on LAMP out in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, and folks, if you are not hooked up with LAMP or BARD, what are you waiting for? It's free. I know in the past it hasn't been as comparable to, like, say, an Audible, which you pay for, but they've really stepped up their game.
And the fact that the books are mostly audio, not text to speech, really is a game changer for me, because I hate those books that are text to speech and you hear them saying, instead of saying street, it might be abbreviated. So they say state, or instead of drive, they say doctor.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Or
we know the stories, right?
Right. Or when I remember a movie that had Christopher Penn in the audio version said Christopher, Pennsylvania. And I'm thinking, come on now. You could obviously, at that point, you can tell that it was text to speech, or now maybe it's even AI when you hear that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad they came back, and we will share their upcoming events as they feed that information to us, because it seems like they always have something going on.
They really do. And as I mentioned in the intro, that event that they have, the art event that they have in November, is always something that I would love to go to. And maybe this year is the year. Just a few days before our state convention in Harrisburg is the art event on November 7th, opening night in LAMP in Pittsburgh.
Careful, don't stretch yourself too thin.
If you have used LAMP in the past, whether it's the Librarian in Philadelphia or the Librarian in Pittsburgh, or you just do things virtually, please let us know. Tell us what you love about it. Give us a call, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes. Please leave your name and town. If you do, leave a voicemail. Again, 267-338-4495.
And you can always email us. Our email address is whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
Lisa, it was great having everybody on, and I thought it was going to be a little tricky at the beginning when I heard everybody coming on, but I think it went very well.
I think so too. Great show. And thank you guys at LAMP for all you do.
Thanks for listening.
Take care.